Hey, good morning, you guys. Evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And good to see you. Tell me where you are. Put in the chat where you are. And that's always fun and helpful to see who's on the show right now. And as you guys know, we're going to be just doing some processing here in a minute. I've got a couple of photos, and if you have any last minute ones, we might be able to squeeze them in. Processing is really fun, and it's obviously part of the 5 points of photography, and that you should know by now, where you visualize. You got to know your equipment. You've got to capture, then you process, then you get your work out to the world. And all the way through each one of those stages, you are visualizing, meaning you're using your mind to determine ahead of time where you want to go. And I'm going to show you when we get to the processing in a minute what I mean by that, because that's actually really important. My little puppy, River, she's 4 months and 1 week. And on the other side over here is a window, and she has a yard, and she just came by and looked at me. She's like, "What's my dad doing? Why is he talking into that computer like that?" It's always pretty cute. So, yeah, okay, why don't we get officially started here. I'm Marc Silber, an author, educator, and photographer in Carmel. And our show is brought to you by our friends at Bay Photo Lab. Listen, you guys, if you haven't heard me say this, you haven't heard me say it enough, which is you got to make prints. And there's so many ways that you can make prints. Bay Photo will help you. Thin wraps are cool. There's 20% off on them. Let's move this screen over a little bit there so we can see more of what's happening. There's a code there. You can grab it. Canvas wraps, also another cool way to make prints. But whatever kind of print you want, if this is your first order, you get 25% off. I love Bay Photo. They are the photographer's resource. They work with us as photographers, and they give you great customer service. I was on the phone with one of our members the other day, and he said that he ordered a print and somehow it got lost in the mail. He called Bay Photo. They just sent him a new one. Well, as it turned out, it wasn't lost. It was just delayed, so he ended up with both of them. But Bay Photo just jumped right on it and gave him a replacement immediately. And that's the kind of guys they are. They're really, really helpful. So take advantage of their sale, 25% off on your first order, and get something made. Get in there and make a print. Okay, so I just saw we've got Joe. Hey, Joe from Louisiana, and Tim from Oklahoma. We're getting the middle of the country, the United States, represented. I wonder who else is on here. And if either of you guys want to send over a print, I can squeeze it in. So let's get started here. We have a submission from Yvette. Let me just adjust my screen a little bit so that we have a better picture. Okay, there we go. So I'm using Lightroom, as you can see, and you should be familiar with it. So first of all, visualization is the very first thing you want to do no matter what. I'm going to look at this. It's not my photograph, so I don't know exactly what Yvette here had visualized. What I see, I do see this as a black and white because there's color in the sky, but that's it. The rest of it is really not. There's no color there, so I don't see any reason in maintaining it as a color image. First thing I'm going to do, I always just start up here at the top, look at the histogram. Histogram looks fine. There's no issue with it. I always, let's go into the develop module. I almost always pull the highlights down though. Almost always, just a little bit. And remember that when you're processing, small adjustments are often all you need. I'm going to bring up the shadows a little bit, but again, I don't want too much. I'm going to strengthen the blacks. I'm going to do that. I can do that in Silver Effects Pro, but I'm just going to do it here first. So I hit the Option key and I'm sliding it over until I see that we are peaking there. And we're starting to, you can see right there that we're losing to the blacks, so we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to keep it about there. Same thing on the whites. Push down the Option key, slide over to the right. You can see what's starting to clip right there. We don't want to do that. Okay. Not much more that I need to do here. This over here, I hope you guys can see that, right? Let me just check on our
being able to see, we see the image.
Yeah, you can see you cannot see my cursor though, can you?
No, I can see the cursor.
Oh, you see it?
We've been able to see it. Yeah.
Okay, good. This kind of branch over here, what it does is just pulls my attention.
Well, wait, maybe I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
I thought I was seeing it earlier, but yeah.
I don't think you are. But the little branch over on the left, bottom left, is pulling my attention. I don't really want that to happen. I want my attention to go to the main tree here, which is actually really cool, and it's got a lot of, sort of dignity just sort of standing up against the clouds. But this little branch on the left, I want to get rid of. So, I could go and use my spot tool and get rid of it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to probably just do a little cropping. Let's just see what this looks like. I'm going to crop it. Okay, so what is this doing? Also, this grid is set for not the rule of thirds, although it isn't even a rule. This is set for the golden mean, which is what I actually end up using. So what it's doing is it's putting everything in the tree kind of within this frame here, which actually helps too. So I'm just going to crop it right there. Now I've gotten rid of this little distracting element over there. All right. So I want to make it a black and white. So I'm going to just go to Edit In and Silver Effects Pro, our friend right there. Yes, I want to do it with Lightroom adjustments. And it's thinking, it's opening, and it's doing its little magic dance there, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what we've got here, let me make my screen a little smaller there so you can see everything. Okay, so first of all, this is opening in a neutral, which means it's just turned it into a black and white, but nothing very special about it. So I'm gonna flick through my favorites. So when I click on my favorites, these are the ones that I use all the time. And let's just click through it and see. That's high contrast. I don't think that's a good look. Just look at each one and see what you think. That could work. It's kind of on the low contrast side. Might work. Full dynamic range, I'm thinking, wow, look at that. Isn't that cool with the cloud structure? It's interesting. I tend to go with this a lot. The last images you saw me process, I was using them wet rocks. This is called More Silver. No, right there, full dynamic range. That's the one I'm going to start with. This is a starting point. So now that I've selected my preset, I'm going to just close that. So I have more real estate there. The less other things that are going on, the better. Now, if you remember, we've got up here the zone system, which I really love. Zone 0 is pure black. There isn't anything in the pure black range, and zone 10 is pure white. We do have stuff in between, but we don't have those two ends, which I always try to hit because that gives you a full dynamic range. So one of the things I know from looking at this is I'm going to want to expand the blacks and I want to expand the whites. And you can see down here, these are tools to do that on a global basis. But let's do this. I love the filters. I'm going to try the red filter. That's pretty impressive. Red will bring out the darkness in the sky. You can flick through the other ones and test them out. Yellow doesn't really do much for me. Orange, green, blue. Definitely don't want blue. I'm going to go with red. What do you guys think? It's bringing a lot of dramatic background in the clouds. And I think we're onto something here. You should, anytime you want, just go ahead and do a comparison. There's a side-by-side cut in the middle. And here's, already you can see a pretty major change in this image, right? Okay. What else do I want to do? I hope you guys don't think I have a set formula that every image I'm going to process this way. It just so happens the ones you've seen me, I am processing along these same lines. I'm going to check the film types. I like to look at film because I'm a film photographer at heart. And the one that I shot with the most was Panatomic X. So if we go out of it, this is the comparison. It does bring out more blacks. It's giving it more punch. I'm not going to bother. You can scroll through all these other ones and see what you think, but I'm just going to go with that Panatomic X. And I think that really helps. Now, looking at this image, it's a bit dark, isn't it? So I want to fix that. What I'm going to use is this dynamic brightness slider. I really like this in Silver Effects Pro. It isn't present in Lightroom or Photoshop. So what it does is it leaves the two ends unchanged. So it's not really changing the blacks and it's not really changing the whites, but it's changing what's going on in between. That was too much. Like most things, little adjustments are usually what you want. That looks about right to me. I'm just going to go back and check our histogram zone system here. Now we definitely brought the blacks up. I'm still not seeing zone 0. It's okay. We might not hit it. We are hitting a bit of zone 9, but I don't see zone 10. I'm not going to worry too much about that. All right, so what do we got? We've got this dramatic sort of look with the branches against the sky. When she shot this, she did angle up a little bit, which is good, and that helps us see the sky behind it. There's some things you could do. I'm not sure how much I want to play with this soft contrast. I don't think I want to do anything with it. I'm going to leave it as it is. There's no real texture that I want to enhance, so I'm not going to change any of the structure here. I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like that's a good representation. Now let's see. Toning. I do like to use selenium. You can see what it's like without it. And there it is. These are the various different tones you can give it. I don't use sepia ever. It's just not a look I'm interested in. This adds a bit of blue to it. I think that's kind of helps. And then now let's look at the edge burning. That would be my final tool here. So this is edge, all edges 1. That did a pretty good job. So what is edge burning? It's just burning it's darkening the corners and the sides. Why do we do that? Because we want to keep the viewer's eye within the frame. And that's basically designed to make the edges darker so that your eye does not pop out of the frame. So we've got choices, edge burning 2, that's too dark. Look how much darker that is. All edges soft 1, that could probably work. I'm going to probably just go back to 1. All edges soft 2, way too dark. So I'm just going to go back to this one here, all edges 1. And let's do a comparison where we started and where we are now. Big difference, right? What do you guys think? So if this was our original photo, I wouldn't think much about it, but as an end result here, I think we've got something. I'll send this to you, Yvette. You can keep it or not as you choose. So there's where we ended up. There's the side by side. You can see how much more dramatic our clouds are. And there's the top and bottom. Okay. there you go. So any comments or questions, I'm available in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit apply, and that will bring it back to Lightroom. It sometimes takes a little time before it shows up there. There it is. Okay, so we can do our side-by-side comparison in Lightroom. And here we go. So what do you guys think? This one...
It's really different. Yeah.
They're very different, isn't it? Very, very different photograph. We've really brought out the depth of the clouds, and I think that adds a lot of interest to it. And we don't have, if we go back to this one here, let me just get out of there. And anytime you want to see the changes you've made in your Lightroom, you just hit the / key. Whoops, you got to be in the wrong module, in the right module. So let's go back to develop. If you don't hit it when you're in the develop module, you get that going on. So there's, there's some of the stuff that I ended up doing initially. Not very important, but there it is. And there you go. That was my suggestion with Yvette, and there's your finished image. And I'm happy to send that along to you if you'd like. Okay, Robert likes it. And what do you guys think? Okay, so let's go. We have another one here. And Jared, remind me who this is.
So this is from our AYP Club member, Amir. And this is a photo of Mount Zin in Israel. This was taken with a A7R3 with a Sigma lens, 35 millimeter f 1.4, and then ISO 100, taken in the evening. So
yeah, I was wondering what his exposure was on that, and I don't see it showing up. Normally it would show up over here, but
and then 25 seconds.
25 seconds. So you can see all the stars he's captured, and this is called Mount. Say it again.
Zin.
Mount
Zin.
I'm almost well, we'll see. I like the subtle colors here on this, so it might be interesting just to leave it as a color image. But we're going to process it as a black and white too. I want to see what it looks like. Look, guys, sometimes it's just trial and error and see what you think. I love the stars, and I love the tonality here. You captured, the feeling of the desert. Let's see, let's move a few of these sliders around while we're here. So I'm going to take the blacks and take it down to where we get clipping. You can also do this, right? You can hit these triangles and you'll see where the clipping occurs. So you can see the blacks are being clipped there. That doesn't really matter. Those are pretty dark areas. Those are, inside kind of the texture. There's a little texture there of the bushes, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. So I'm going to bring it over to about there, and I'm going to do the same thing with the whites. And we'll pull it over about there. Now, if I pull the whites over more, you're going to start seeing clipping occurring on that. We don't want that. So we'll pull it back, get rid of that clipping. All right, so there's some blacks and whites adjusted. Let's see what happens when I pull the highlights down. What it does start to do is bring out a little more of that sky. So I'm going to pull those over. Do I want to change the shadow? Maybe a little bit, not so much, tiny bit. Okay, well, let's see what happens when we start to process it as a black and white. So as far as cropping or whatever, I don't see anything in the, the frame looks fine. You've got the sun over here, which is cool. Let's just process it in Silver Effects Pro and see what happens here. So we're going to go to Edit In, same deal. By the way, you guys can get a free 30-day copy of Silver Effects Pro. You should do that. Try it out for yourself, and I think you'll love it. Okay, same deal, same workflow. I go to my favorites. There's neutral. Let's get out of that view. There we go. Way too contrasty. I lose all this. Well, not all. I lose a lot of the stars. I want to enhance that. I want that sky to really pop out even more. Could work. That could work. Some pretty wild star patterns. And this is our full dynamic range, which we used on the last one. Boy, it's just becoming a go-to for me. Look at that. And that doesn't really work. And that doesn't work. This could work, but I'm thinking number 15, full dynamic range, is working again. You guys are going to think I just have a one-trick pony here and that's all I ever do, but it isn't. Okay, so I'm going to start there, close that out. Look at your zone system here. Let's see what we got. We don't have 0. We don't have 10. We've got stuff in between. When you hover over this, you can see what the various zones are. Go back to our red filter. Ooh, that's not helping at all. We don't want that. Get rid of it. So in this case, that just washes it out. We don't want that. Let's see if the orange works. Yellow, orange, green. Not so much. Blue. No, thank you. So we're going to get all the filters gone. Just get rid of them. Okay, let's see. Film. I want to check my old friend Panatomic X. I'm not crazy about what it's doing there. I may just skip the film. I'm going to skip the film entirely. I don't feel... that one's not bad. I just don't know if it's going to... Oh, that's kind of cool. This is where, you as the photographer or artist just would make a decision if you felt it enhanced. This is getting way too contrasty. Yeah, we're losing a lot. I don't know, maybe one of these here. So this is Ilford. I think that's kind of cool. I'm going to go back to neutral. And then let's try that Ilford. I'm going to go with that. Okay. So let's do a comparison as we've done this. Okay, look where we started. And now we've got that sky really popping out there. That's what I wanted. And we'll do a side by side. You can really, really, really see the difference there. Now there's tons of texture already here. I'm not going to play around with that. I'm going to get out of that. What else could I do? I'm not seeing a lot of... I'm gonna just what I did last time. I'm gonna bring the dynamic brightness up a little bit, just a bit. What that does is it helps kind of add this halo around here, which I think is cool because the sun is going down. That's enough. Okay, what else are we gonna do? Do what I just did a moment ago. I'm gonna check selenium and see if I like that look. I think that looks really cool. And it's all your own judgment on this stuff. There's no rules here. Okay, burning the edges 1 is a little too much. 2, definitely. I'm going to do what I did last time, burn them soft. Now I can even adjust that some more if I wanted. I'm going to leave it like that. Actually, you know what? I'm not liking that one. That's too much. Let's go back to 1. 1, I don't know. I may not burn the edges, guys. Just turn it off. I don't think I need to. I feel like it's closing it in a little bit too much, and I could spend some time and play with the edge burning and reduce it. Yeah, I feel like I'm not crazy about that vignette that's going on there. I'm going to just not put an edge burn on this. You don't have to do this on every image. Let's just let it go. There's a little brightness here that I could deal with. What I could do if I wanted to pull that down a little bit is I could just put a control point here and drag that over there. And I'm not sure it really needs it, actually. Forget about it. Okay. Let's try it. Okay, there's a control point. I'm going to just darken it and see what happens. I'll just pull the brightness down a little bit. Way too much. Maybe just looks a little unnatural. Nah, let's pull it up a little bit. Okay, I'm just darkening that one edge a little bit. Okay, not a lot. Okay, and while we're at it, I'm gonna duplicate it and drag it over here. See if that corner might. Okay, I feel like that could help. This pile of stuff here. While we're at it, let's also darken that. So let's just. So again, that's just keeping our eye from getting pulled into the bottom part of the frame. So that's what I've done. Instead of, I don't need to darken the other edges. I'm just darkening what's in the foreground there. Okay. So when you want to duplicate these control points, you just press on a Mac, you press the Option key, and it gives you another one that you can slide around. And you can then make other adjustments to each one of those control points by going back to your panel over here. I believe we're done. What do you guys think? So that's it. I'm going to hit apply. Oh, let's do a comparison from the very beginning. That's where we started. That's where we are now.
Huge difference.
What a huge difference. What do you guys think? Okay. Silver Effects Pro, it's awesome stuff. I use it a lot, as you can see. Now I'm going to hit apply. Let's get out of this. Yeah, I think that's... Listen, you should send this to Bay Photo and get it printed. Okay, I hit that, and that will then send it back to Lightroom. Again, it might take a little minute for it to show up there. There it is. We'll do our comparison here. I think we've got a pretty dramatic change going on here. Boom, boom. Okay. And there we go. And side by side, you can really see the difference. You know, we brought out that sky. I really actually like this sun effect over here. We've darkened some of the edges here. I think we made it into a pretty dramatic photograph. Okay, what do you guys think? And if you have any questions, fire them away. Otherwise, that's our little demo for today. We'll do this periodically. What do you guys think? Is this something you'd like to have us include into our AYP series of, every now and then we can do this. We do a lot of other stuff, but, I'm curious if you like this as well. Okay, well, listen. I'm going to be off next week. I'm going sailing in Maine. I may, who knows, maybe I'll get adventurous and send you guys a video from out on a sailboat. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to leave that open. If not, Jared's going to put up something, and you'll see us back again. What's the week after that? The 24th?
23rd.
Right? 23rd is a Thursday, right?
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you back on the 23rd. I don't know what we're going to do then, but you'll hear about it. And as always, you guys should, be in the AYP Club if you're not already there. AYP Plus, we're just wrapping up our books. This is pretty cool. Everybody who's been in there, who's been participating, has created a book, and we're just wrapping that up, which is pretty nifty. Okay. So, listen, you guys, have a good rest of September. I'll see you at the end of the month. Jared, do we have any other news or announcements at this point?
I don't think so. If you are interested in this, I'll be setting up a Dropbox so that people can submit your photos. We'd like them to be, raw, unprocessed, obviously. And so we think that'll be better than our normal method with AYP Club, because Facebook compression and stuff. So we're just going to set up a Dropbox link, and I'll make that available on AYP Club and in the description of this video and other future videos. So it looks like we've got Mache and Robert They both like the idea of us doing this, and
Okay,
it's
cool.
kind of a bit of new territory because we so often talk about composition
Yeah,
and other elements. We don't go on processing as often, so it'll be kind of a
the
fun
the magic of
feel.
processing. Yeah, and we will, Jared. I'm going to send these photos back to you, and then you can forward them on to the photographers. Don't
Yes.
forget, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but make sure you subscribe and you enable the bell. Don't want to miss any of our episodes. Please like the video, leave your comments. We always read those comments. And as always, remember to get out and capture your own images of life. Stay well, stay creative, and we'll see you guys soon.